After 2 months, chapter 16 has finally arrived, and we are able to see what's going on with Tokyo, Ellie, and the rest of everyone. And we finally are able to see what he's planning on doing while after getting his license and being registered as a Choujin. And we are also able to see what Ellie she's able to do and where she's living and why she's in the city, because with chapter 15 it kind of ended in a cliffhanger because we both see what's the real purpose of Ellie and Tokyo, what they're going to do with their children powers after they being registered. And now we're able to see how the process of Ellie, how she's able to control and how she's living her life, but also to see how Tokyo, how he's living his life as well. But in chapter 16 is mostly focusing on the lifestyle between Ellie and Tokyo and how their lives are becoming keepers and pretty much the life after being registered. Because in the beginning of the chapter, we finally are able to understand what Ellie's doing as becoming a keeper and understanding what is the true purpose of the Yamato of Mori school institution that actually is. And to make it more simple, the Yamato of Mori school is kind of like the X-Men, the house of Xavier, where all the mutants are literally there who are trying to control their mutant powers and trying to be good citizen and help people out and pretty much showcase that mutants are not a bad thing, that they are a benefit to society, and that they pretty much help society becomes peaceful with their mutant powers. And that's what the Yamato of the institutions actually is. There are housing and an institution to teach people who has chosen powers to become good Chojins and who are also registered to be called keepers. And these keepers live in this institution and also learn their abilities to help the society run smooth and have the good reputation of Chojin. And to be able to actually join this school is pretty much the lowest age is the age of 6 and between the age of 25, because I guess that's pretty much the age range where your children powers actually pop up and your children powers actually starts to work. So between the age of 6 and 25, you're able to join into this institution, and we are able to see Ellie is actually training with the life of Momoma and Simon. And we see her just training hard, living her life as a normal student, but also to living in the institution and working there as well, because remember, she's a registered Chosen. So she's able enough to go ahead and do whatever she wants to do. She can use her powers, she can fight bad Chojins, she can also defend herself as much as possible. She can do a lot of other things. So we are able to understand her part on how she's able to operate after the events of doing her 40 days of training. And so now how she is living her life as a registered Chojin. So people like Tokyo, who is most likely he's also living his life as well, but he's not living in the institution. He's living in his own home with his sister, and he's just pretty much just living his life daily to daily. And so we see that Tokyo, he's also dreaming about Momoma. He's having a wet dream and having his love fest, but then it end up turning into a nightmare because the snake children appear and just choking Tokyo. And Tokyo, he wakes up from his nightmare and he realizes that he's being late to school. So he quickly is trying to make sure that he reached the school on time. So before he even reached the school, he decided to use his beast personification, and he was just trying to use his beast personification to change his legs, but it ended up changing his whole body. And so he was able to try to make it in school on time. And it indicated that Tokyo, however, he is still struggling on the decision on the path of what he wants to do for his future, which is kind of funny because he says that he wants to go ahead and help people in the previous chapters, but now it seems like he still is struggling with that decision and trying to go in that pathway. So we see that Tokyo, he finally has arrived. into the school. And then we see that Azuma is actually ran into Ellie because Azuma, he went to do a jog and he just sees that Ellie was on her way to school. So they both chatted out with each other. And it seems like Ellie actually made a new friend. But Ellie, when she saw Tokyo, they both started talking and she was wondering if Tokyo were able to join her in the Yamano of Mori school and actually try to become a keeper, and also to try to strengthen his Choujin's abilities and actually live there as well. But Tokyo, he is just like, no, I'm not a morning person, and also too, like, I have family that I live with, so I don't like the idea of living in a dorm. And it just seems like Tokyo, he's not 100% solid on the idea, which is kind of funny because when we see that Tokyo, when he was trying to do his Beast for Fun vacation earlier in this chapter, he just wanted to change his legs, but he actually turned his whole body into the whole vulture form. So he kind of needs more training, and actually too, he needs the school of Mori to actually learn his abilities in full force. So I didn't really think it was a bad idea. And also Ellie also think it's not a bad idea because she's trying to make any way as possible for him to actually join the school of Mori, saying that it's a lot of fun and it's a lot of great things that you will learn and everything. And also too, they'll pay for your living as well, and you also get paid. So while that's happening, Azuma, he is looking and he's seeing that Tokyo is talking to Ellie. So the next scene, we see that Tokyo and Azuma are on top of the rooftop, and Tokyo is being frustrated because he doesn't know what he's doing. So Azuma realized that Tokyo is being frustrated. So he asks Tokyo, like, hey, bro, like, are you okay? Is everything all right? Why you have a long face? And Tokyo, he wants to tell Azuma the situation between him and Ellie and how different they are. But instead of trying to give Ellie her pretty much her identity, he described Ellie as a anonymous friend. But Azuma already figured out who was Tokyo was talking about, and he called him out on it. He's like, I know who you're talking about. I met her. I seen her with you, and I also walked to school with her. And he also gave Tokyo advice about his decision because he knows that Tokyo wants to go ahead and help people and save people from their problems. But he says that, bro, you're going to be left behind because you don't have the mental picture on what you want to do because you're just being stuck at this current moment. So while that's happening, we get cut to the next scene while we focus on the bounty hunters of the squid guy and the origami Choujin. And we see that the squid guy is ordering 2 hot dogs and scaring a kid. And while he reached to his headquarters, there are also seen that the origami person is actually looking for someone who is an injector, who they're trying to see the target and trying to go after someone that they specifically are looking for. And so while they're trying to find their target, they are most likely trying to discuss that what happens if the origami is able to find a person, but the origami Choujin is not telling the squid guy, like, oh, this is what's going to happen. We'll just have to wait and see. So we get cut off to Azuma while he's walking down on the street, minding his own business and just thinking of his last conversation that he has with Tokyo. And while he's talking about the whole situation, he realized that there's a thirsty hyena ready to eat him and attack him. And he realized that after the event, the snake Choujin broke the zoo, and while trying to kill Tokyo and Ellie, some of the animals actually escaped. And one of them was the hyena, and one of the hyenas was able to find Azuma and try to attack Azuma. And Azuma, he is just looking at the other direction. He was just like, I can run fast, but this is an animal. This is going to be a different challenge. So Azuma, he's in a tough situation currently because he doesn't know what to do, because the only thing that he knows what to do is just to run away and try to survive this hyena attack, because this hyena Azuma is very hungry. And so that's just pretty much how the chapter ends. And this is just a great way for Choujin X to continue and being back, because after 2 months, we've been waiting, we've been thirsty, we've been hungry for some new Choujin X content, and I'm happy that it's back. And man, there's just a lot to go over throughout this whole scene. But other than that, let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this chapter. What's your favorite moment? Would you feel like what's going to happen to Azuma? Does he has the injecting Choujin powers with him? Because remember, there were kind of like two of them, so we don't know if he's going to inject himself. Or do you think that Tokyo or Ellie are going to save him? Or do you feel like another Choujin is going to save, Azuma as well? We don't know yet for sure, but let me know down in the comment section. And if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monotone Man, and hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out there.